In today's video, I will show you how to buy land for free. So on the channel, usually I talk about sustainable architecture, like houses that produces more energy than they consume, and sustainable furniture that basically will outlast even your grandchildren. So in today's video, I will talk about how to buy land for free because a lot of persons have problems that they don't have to land to build a house. And I will show you like how I found like 6 different possibilities to not just to buy the land for free or they give it for free. Actually, I'm kind of exaggerating it, but they will pay you money to take the land because nobody wants it. Because if you're an owner of the land like that, it will cost you money to actually to have it because you have to pay the taxes for it. And if you're not, I don't say smart enough, but if you're not thinking about to use the land, you will just pay the taxes and you can't use it. And I will show you like 6 different examples within this video how to buy those kind of lands, how can you bid on them, and what kind of legal hoops can you use for your advantage. Because if I show you, for example, like the pictures that you see, like 6 different categories, you will say, oh yeah, you build a house on a lake. Yeah, it's genius. Like you didn't told me anything. But actually, in a legal standpoint, that's not a lake, that's not a house, and that's not a rock that's built on. Just let me show it to you. So let's start with the first ideas. Few years back, I made like a website for a luxury resort, and the guy who owned the place, it was genius. So basically, he did the following. He started to, he bought a terrain near a river, and the terrain is full of rocks. And he lended out the terrain to a mining company, and they actually mined out, not the mine, they took out the rocks from the land, and it formed like a lake, you know. And actually, he bought the land for almost for free, and afterwards he had a lake, and he started to do like wedding venues afterwards. So, in the legal standpoint, it's like really, really strange. And what I want to tell to you, like here, if you buy a land and you make a lake on it, or you buy a lake, the lake usually it's way, 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 way more cheaper. For example, as a land that's sold by the government that you are like building on it. And what happens? Let's say you buy a land for like 2, 3, 4, 5 euros compared to like 20, 30, 40 euros, and afterwards you put a house on it, or you put a barge on it that looks like a house. Sure, it's like the most stupid example, but I just wanted to show you like an example, or like another one. You can buy land in a flood area because just bear with me for a second, because not the problem the, let me let me tell you in another way. I wouldn't tell you that like, hey, put your house in a floodline and like make a risk. I'm just telling like there are zones that might get like 1 meter of water like once a year and like twice a year or something like that, or once like 2 years. And what's the issue with it? The issue is if you build a house that can withstand that and has absolutely no problem with it because you put like on a pile, like a pile system, that means nobody will build near you. And what that means? If there's a place where nobody's want to buy land, that means the land there it will be extremely cheap. So with the price difference, you can make like a mansion for pennies. See the logic? Let's say you buy the land for like 2 euros because nobody wants it. Like you can't put like food on it because it might come a flood anytime. Nobody wants to put like buildings on it, commercial buildings or like houses, like nothing. You know, it's just a land that you have to pay the taxes on it, but you literally can't use it. You can do like birdwatch, but so with the land that other persons can do birdwatch or like literally nothing, that land will be like one of the cheapest lands in the area. And you just buy it and you build empires on it. And probably if you do so, there are places you will say like, yeah, okay, but nobody will let me do that. Yeah, there are places they don't, but there are places that you can build. And I'm not saying that I'm reinventing the wheel. I'm just saying like, just think about like the loopholes, you know, or like let's saying there are like lands or like cliffs, and nobody's think about, hey, why we shouldn't build on cliffs because nobody wants to be there. And sure, like if you're like in the seaside and there's like a beautiful cliff like on the videos with Ireland, probably the government won't let you like be there. And I have videos I will show you. You don't have to buy like a lot of terrain. You can buy like a really, really, really narrow lot because it's on a cliff. And let's say you buy like 10 meters, it's like that. You put the house there, but nobody, you won't have neighbors. You will have like maybe 20, 30, 40 kilometers of like sightseeing there. but you don't have to buy like a huge terrain. You will get a way to buy like the cheapest terrain because nobody wants the cliff. Like, what can you do with it? You can do nothing with it. And the second one, you will never have neighbors in one direction because you have like the best view, and then the other direction you won't have neighbors as well because you have the cliff there, you know. And the third one is like really really easy. You will say like I'm crazy here, but in an architecture or like an engineering standpoint, if you do like smaller houses or like not the biggest one, in the engineering standpoint, it's like really, really easy to build them because it's like a rock, you know, it's like titanium. You can put the bolt in it and it will hold, you know. So it's not like you're building on sand, you know, it's like the opposite. So let me show you, I have like 6 examples here and all of them has like pluses and minuses. And I'm not talking about like, yeah, I put a house on a hill, I didn't reinvent the hill. Like humankind did that. I'm not the first one that wants to put on a slope a house. But I want to tell you like different things that you would never ever consider it. And I have like a house that I built like the 6 video that I made a rendering in Twinmotion, and I want to show you like the benefits of it. And probably in the next videos I will show you how to build that exactly same house under like 15,000 euros, like 1 5, not 50, like 1 5,000 euros because it's optimized and it's like really cheap, and probably it will be one of the best houses to build for Airbnbs. So let me start with the first one. So the first one, I don't like that the most. It's like a canyon. So let's say you be there. Let me show you in a moment. So let me tell that's the example that I don't like the best to show you because I asked Midjourney to help me about to show the concept, and the scale is like way 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 bigger. I'm not talking about mansions and like $10 million projects. I'm just telling if you have a valley like wherever, you know, probably usually the persons don't want to be there because sometimes you might have like water in the lower part. And I'm not talking about rivers, and I'm not talking about like small creeks, then the government won't let you build. I'm talking about places that nobody cares and nobody wants to buy because it's like, let's say it's like a 30-degree slope on both sides, like that one, you know, and you can bridge it, like you can put a bridge on the upper part, and even you can put pipes. So it's not like you don't imagine here like a bridge telling like, oh, you have to have like a great opening and it costs you a fortune. I'm just telling like you put like pilings and you put it in the air, and therefore you can buy the land really, really, really close to the city, and they will give you. I don't say it for free, but they will give you like really cheaply because even the neighbors they will say, "Hey, I'm not buying that land from the neighbor because I can't do nothing with it. You can't even put a ball on it because it will go down in the valley, you know. You can't keep animals on it. You can put, I don't know, like a cabbage or like something. You can do like literally it's worth like the only thing that you can do is like bird watching, you know. And if you can put like lightweight structures on it, you will go on because the price difference between buying the land for free or almost for free, because even they will like you would tell me that I'm exaggerating, but if you think about it, you have like a great land and it's like useless, but you have to pay the taxes for it. So you have a land that's useless. You can't even go there. Like what you do there, you can't even put your tent on it because it's like a 45-degree angle or like your so it's useless for others, you know, like other persons garbage, it's other person's god. So just consider it. And then the pictures, the image is like not the best because like the openings are huge. It's like 200 meters because I wanted to convince like AI like Midjourney to make it smaller, but I couldn't. And therefore I made like a Twinmotion rendering in the last video, and I will show you exactly how to do it. The second example, I think it wouldn't work because it looks like really fancy. It looks like, oh, I want to impress somebody. It's like the ego, like the architect ego is talking about me. And again, like reinventing the wheel, like, oh, put the house on the cliffs and it's like beautiful. The problem, I'm talking about the legal point. The problem here is like, I put it near the ocean, and probably I'm assuming because every legislation is different and every country is different, but probably you won't get away to put it in a cliff, you know, near the ocean, because if somebody like if everybody starts to do it, it will look like New York when the sailors come, you're coming with the ship when you're seeing it. I'm not sure that they will let you do it. However, I like the images because you might try to find like cliffs like that inland, you know, without the water or without like the ocean. Like when I'm talking about the water, I'm talking about the legal standpoint. The legal standpoint that you can't touch the water, the river, or things like that that's common. But maybe there's like a lake. and the lake is on your property, you know. And basically it's like a cliff and the lake on it, and you don't really have like a good access, you don't really have like a good neighborhood, and probably you might get away, and probably they might let you something, maybe something not big, but you might do like a small Airbnb in the air. You might put like something that's like bigger than a tent, you know. You might try it, because you know, if you're not trying it, you won't be able to get from point A to point B. And I'm just telling you, like the images look great, and even if it's not like a huge house, probably it won't be like a mega mansion for Oprah Winfrey. But I'm telling you, for like one, two, three persons, or for an Airbnb, it would work out like the best. And probably I can make a bet with you. There are like places that's not a national reservation that will let you do it, or like you might get away with it. And even if you're not staying in it, you can lend it out to somebody else who would pay you for the price. And imagine, like, look at the images. I like them the most because you don't have, you're not even thinking in two dimensions. You're thinking about one dimension, because if you're like buying like 50 meters, like in length, that's like 50 meters, and you buy like 2 meters. Like, sure, it's not like that, and I'm like, over simplifying the things, but the main idea is you don't have to buy like 1 kilometer or 1 kilometer, or like 1 mile or 1 mile, you know. You buy like 1 mile or like 10 meters, I don't know, a couple of feet, and who will build in front of you? Like Poseidon, like, come on, like nobody. And even if you're inland, probably nobody will put themselves after you, because like you have the cliffs in the back, and then the other part maybe you don't have nothing. You just have like a view, and you can see like for kilometers and kilometers and kilometers far ahead. And again, guys, I will leave like the best ideas at the bottom. I will mean it will be like a really, really big surprise. However, just think about those. You say like, yeah, it's a hill, nothing new here, but yeah, it's nothing new, but nobody's doing it. You know, it's something like with the fitness. Like everybody knows, you don't have to eat you shouldn't eat the sugar, and you should make the push-ups, but nobody's doing that. So the same, like everybody knows that you can build on a hill and it will be like really, really cheap, but nobody does it. And I'm not reinventing anything here, but just like, please do it. Don't cry about the government. Don't say, oh, you don't like the politicians, you don't like the war, you don't like the aliens are coming afterwards. Just just don't say excuses like, oh, we don't have the money, or like the banks are not giving us money. Just build on a slope that nobody wants, and the government lets you do something there, you know. Because I can make a bet, even if you're like living in the most expensive area on the earth, it will be like a slope that nobody wants, because of, I don't know, they just sit there and they expect that they will have some days like miraculously like $1 million to buy something in the downtown, you know. But if you're not like that, you don't have like that amount of money, you can buy things like here, and you can make like marvelous things. Especially like the engineering and the architecture lately, it's like really, really, really good. So you can build like cheaper, like way cheaper than before, if you do your homework. And on the website, like what Maverick mentions, side by side with the furniture that I will make, I will show you how to build cheap houses, and probably they will cost, like, regarded not regarded to the shape and form and style, it will cost like maybe 4, 5, 6,000 euros or dollars, or something like that per room, you know. So if you have like 5 rooms, it will be like 5 times, or like $5,000, like the building price. And so I'm just telling that, not because I want to sell you something for now. I will try it later, but not for now. I'm just telling you, if I have like a big month, yeah, you can build cheaper. I will be able to show you how, because I actually do the blueprints. So in the upcoming videos, I will show you actually how to build the houses, and how to build the premium houses wherever you want, on the slopes, on the hills, on the ice, on the avalanche, whatever you want. So okay, let's go to the best idea at the end. So look again, I'm thinking about the cliffs. It's like the same thing like the oceans, but that's inland. And the big difference is you will get it even cheaper, and probably nobody will even care that what are you doing there. If you're not in a national reservation, you will get away with it. And even if it's a national reservation, probably you can do some legal things like saying, hey, it's a place for birdwatch, or it's like a place where you would like to let visitors in the inside sometimes. And the issue is, like, disregard the idea that like looks really fancy, and it's like probably it's like the ego of Midjourney that it wants to show you like fancy $1 million homes. But the idea here is if you start to build on a land that costs you almost nothing, and in a way you manage to make money with it, let's say you rent it out, that means you're printing money because you want money from the bank, nobody will let you because they will say, oh, you want the land, it's not making you money. So the bank, if you have the land already, the bank won't give you more money. However, if you have like a money making, like a money printing machine, like an Airbnb, they won't really care that the land initially it was worthless. Let's say because that land there, it's like cost $1 per square meter because nobody wants it. I'm not exaggerating here. Even if you're India, New York, or whatever, nobody will like wake up like 10,000 persons in your town and say, "Hey, I want that land," and they will like put like they will bid on it. No, nobody will want it. And even if you buy it, they will say you're like a lunatic, you're crazy. There you start to make money in it. So you get the land for free, like almost for free, like in quotes. And afterwards, when you build like anything on it that starts to make money, like an Airbnb example, the second when the bank comes and say, oh, okay, let's uh, finance the new constructions, let the second one, it will show, okay, I have here this house. Let's say it costed you like $100,000, $200,000, $1 million. It doesn't matter. The bank won't consider just the amount of money what the house costs, but it will consider the location as itself, like uh, place that makes money. So you will make money from thin air if it makes sense because the bank will consider the area like the land itself, and they will say, oh, because banks don't think about like real estate investor. They will say, oh, you have a house there in that area, the house is cost like that amount of money, it's luxury, then it's that, it's not luxury, then it's that. If you have like a big garden, that costs like that. If you have a small one, it costs like that. So you're playing with their like laziness, let's say, because first when you just have the cliff, the bank will say you're stupid, that's worthless, they don't appreciate your effort there. But the second you have there like something that looks like really good and persons are renting it or they rent it out for an Airbnb or like bookings.com or something like that, the second will the banks will say, oh, wait a bit, you have here like an investment and you're making money, and if the problem arises, we can sell it for like $1 million. And maybe your initial investment was for like zero, almost zero for the land, and maybe 100,000, like 200,000. It depends on the country, on the bidding. So when you ask the banks to give you more money to build the second one, they will give you not that amount of money that you invested it. They will give you way, 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 way more money because you made it for almost nothing, if it makes sense. So you'll be able to print money from thin air. And it will be like really easy for you to buy the land because when somebody like a real estate investment person, they are like good, wants to buy a land. They are like chasing for land, like maybe for months and months and months. It's like a crocodile that's like there and like watching, for the perfect opportunity. And they have all of the paperwork and all of the money like put aside. And when they see something, the second like they buy it ahead of you. However, they are not chasing terrains like that. So you're not even competing with the other ones because other ones want the downtown area. They want the outer parts of the city, like the 1 mile away, 2 miles away, depending like how big the city is that you're living. But nobody is competing for the rock mines, or like competing for those. And the last one, I think it will be like the best idea. Let me show you. It's about the lake. What if I tell you that it's not a lake and it's not a house and everything you know it's like not like that. Let's say what is that if you see the pictures now, you see here a ship and a barge. Yeah, it's like crazy, but it might be that in a legal standpoint. So my problem here is with the lakeside is you can build it. It's lasting. Like I didn't show you something. If you look what it is, you see a lake and you see like $1 million mansion near it. However, the problem is like with the land that everybody wants to buy the same land near the lakeside, and it costs you a fortune. And my proposal is, I think it's easier to actually make a lake than to buy one or like the side of it, you know, like because let me tell you an example. I know somebody, and I actually worked at that for that guy. I made him the website for a luxury resort, and they did the following. So he had like farmland, and the farmland was near the river. And I don't know how he had the idea, but it was genius. So he figured out that the land is full of rocks. You know, it's like rocks, stones, and like sand. And he lent it out to a company, for a mining company, like not like a huge, like the biggest, but like a small mining company. And they started to mine out or like dig out the soil, and they took the materials. They took the rocks, they took the sand, and what it left like a huge lake. And actually he had like 3 or 4 lakes afterwards, and he made a lot of money. So basically he bought the land for free, like not for free but like for agriculture. Like maybe he paid, like we are in Europe, we are not like near New York, but I don't think he paid more than like $2 per square meter, you know, for the land. So it was cheap. It was like 10, 15 years ago. So he bought, let's say he bought it for almost nothing. I'm not even sure that he could even like build or something. But even so, he bought the land, and afterwards he rented out for the mining company, and they started to mine out all of the materials in the inside, you know, like the rocks, the sand, everything. So basically, he had the building materials there, and he had so much that they sold it, you know, and he didn't have to pay anything because the mining company come there, like arrived, and they started to mine, and one of the, I don't know what was their deal, but the part of the things that they took out, they put like aside, you know, and he had like a big mountain full of rocks and like sand, you know, for building. And afterwards, what was the leftover? The leftover was a lake. That it was his own lake on his own property, you know. And afterward, if you have a lake, you can make like a house on it, like near it. And the idea is again that you will have the land almost for free. And he made money with buying the land that nobody wanted, you know. And he made like 3 or 4 huge lakes on the land. And afterwards he started to make like vending places. So basically, persons come from the city, like it's like 15 kilometers from the city center, maybe 20, something like that. And he manages venues like huge, like they go there like persons, like 5,000, 10,000 persons for an event or like for a concert. And sometimes they do weddings for like 400, 500 persons. And one of the tents, they actually build a tent on a lake. So the lake makes him money, you know. And with the same thing, you can make like not the house on it, but maybe you can put a barge on it. And in a legal standpoint, if you make a barge that's not a ship, because if you make a ship, it's like really, really problematic and it costs you like a lot of money with the finances, you know, and you have like a lot of paperwork. And with the houses as well. But if you make a barge and on the barge you make like a livable barge and you say, hey, that's a barge and looks like this and that, and afterwards you make like how like hopes, oh, I'm not sure. Like fake rocks, you put like fake rocks, you know, like from ferrocrete, ferrocement, and you paint them. That might work. So you don't even have to have the house at the edge of the lake. You can put it right in the middle. So you have like endless possibilities. And again, like the end result, it's look like the same that it would cost you like millions and millions of dollars. And in that version, you might get away for almost for free. Let me show you like the last example that I like the most because I draw it with Twinmotion. And let me show you how it works. So look, the same idea, that's the drawing that I made in Twinmotion. So here, if you look at the images, it's like the last thing that you would say, oh, let's build a house there, because you say, okay, let's build one, but you're not actually like think about like seriously, because even if it's like a floodline, even the area is like really, really, really hard to go there. And nobody's kind of wants to do there something, especially if you have problems with water or you have like, it's like really angered or you have like big cliffs in the middle. But this way you can like make a bridge between like two cliffs, or like basically it's like a way to go around the problem. Because if you want to build a house, like on the lower part, maybe your hands are tied or it might cost you like a fortune, and maybe nobody would really like it because you disturb the wildlife. But this way you are not, you're putting everything above, and you don't even like build the bridge like a normal bridge that you have like a big opening. You just have a platform on the upper part, and here in the lower part you just like have like bars in every like 2 or 3 meters. That's not even an opening, and you can do that like literally for free. And I wouldn't tell you that you can build houses like that for cheap, because I actually have the blueprint for that house, like that particular house, like designed mostly for Airbnbs. And this design, and I drawn all of the screws in it, and I know exactly before the pandemics it cost like I'm talking about prices like before the virus, it cost like $15,000 to do it in Europe. I have no idea about the prices in America, but in Middle Europe that I'm living, that house, okay, without the platform, I'm talking about the house, it costs like $15,000 to make it, not 50, but 1 5. So I'm really confident, and I'm really like convinced about the idea that we have like endless and endless possibilities. Companies like Lilium that will produce like the little flying machines that you can go everywhere like in minutes, and the drones will come on the market for like 100, $200,000. And I'm not telling like everybody's having that money. I'm just telling like slowly but surely everybody will have like the flying machineries, and that's the future. To buy the land now that will cost you like nothing. Think about it here. If you see that cliffs, like little builders, it's like 3 4 meters tall, let's say. How can you build here? You can build them there, and you will have like an excavation company or like a mining company to just like flatten it out the terrain. And you're not fighting the terrain, you're using it as an advantage, you just say, oh, I have a cliff here. It's not the problem to take out the cliff. You say, oh, at least I have something solid to put like a really 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 thin like metal, like a metal pile on it, and it will hold your house. And if you put like the pilings like 2 meters, like 3 meters, one near each other, that means like the openings are like really really small. So the whole construction, like the extra construction, like the candy bar color slab, it will cost you like almost nothing, and it looks great, and you're not disturbing the nature that much, and you leave like the nature undisturbed, and all the animals, all of the wildlife can walk beneath you, and hopefully they're not coming after you to bite your ass or something. But that's the main idea. So that was today's video, and probably I won't be able to like to divide the channel in two, because sometimes I will talk about architecture, like sustainable architecture, like that, and sometimes I will talk about the furniture that we make that will be like as eccentric as well, because we'll build like furniture that's like really thick. It's like nature itself. So that was today's video, and consider to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.